and welcome back to the DeCesare Group Podcast. I'm your host, Jim DeCesare, and thank you for listening. For over a year, the DeCesare Group Podcast has covered business and economic news here in South Central Kentucky. And guess what? The DeCesare Group Podcast is now on YouTube. We'd love it if you would subscribe. The episodes come out first thing on Monday mornings every other week, just like the podcast. And the podcast is a companion to our newsletter, Soki Economic Development and Business News, which you can subscribe to on our website, thedecesaregroup.com. It'll hit your inbox every Monday morning. This week, our guest is Judge Johnny Hobdy, Director of Economic Development for the Allen County-Scottsville Industrial Development Authority. It's a role he took on more than 5 years ago after serving 2 terms as the Allen County Judge Executive. There have been some significant growth in Allen County under Johnny's leadership, and I'm excited to have him on the podcast to tell us what's happening in Allen County. Here's my conversation with Johnny Hobdy. Judge Hobdy, welcome to the DeCesare Group Podcast.
Thanks, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
Well, we're glad to have you and want to talk about all the great things that are happening in Allen County. So talk about some of the growth you've seen in your time as not only Judge Executive, but the Director of Economic Development for Allen County.
Well, you know, we've made some progress. It's been slow, but we've made some progress along the way. And I know Richie Sanders was in the role that I'm in now with economic development while I was judge. And Richie, I should say,
he'll answer to both.
He will. He found this spot out on 231. It's kind of about 5 or 6 miles out of Scottsville. And at that point, we didn't have an industrial park. We had gotten Smuckers in previous years, but we just had to go out and find the land and make it work. So Richie had that vision, and I was a little skeptical, to be honest, as county judge. At that time, the utilities weren't there. Wasn't any sewer, gas. But the board went ahead and purchased that land, and so now we have a park there, the Allen Springs Industrial Park. And since then, we originally bought 110 acres, and we exercised an option on an additional 135 acres that was adjacent to that we'd had for about 4 years. So Richie was right and I was wrong. It was a good move for us in the city.
Don't tell him that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I have told him that a few times. Like I said, I've just I didn't see the vision, and there were a lot of hurdles to make that work. But the city and the county stepped up, got the utilities out there. We now have the sewer, the gas, fiber, plenty of water. So it was a good move for us. And I think that's upped our game as far as industrial recruitment and making us a little bit more, known, I guess, with the state, TVA, and different folks. Sure. Because we now have a true site that we can show to folks. And been a big plus for us, and it's helped us move, in the right direction as far as economic development.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about the challenges you face in promoting, this particular industrial park and economic development as a whole, were the utilities and the gas, electric, and all that, was that your biggest hurdle to get over with the new industrial park?
It was, and like I said, I mean, we're seeing some residential growth. I'm going to say one road off of the main road. You see more of that just, in the Alvaton area here. It's the same way, and it's moving that way towards Scottsville. So, the utilities to be able to go to a company and say we have, sufficient sewer capacity and we have natural gas and, the fiber and stuff, that was the big hurdle. And you just, you were knocking on doors that nobody wanted to listen when you didn't have those, as you know.
Yeah.
Those were crucial to get us in the game, and took a couple of 3 years to do all that, but we finally got that all and moving in the right direction.
And when you talk about your utilities, you have a lot of different partners involved here. You've mentioned TVA, for example, but I don't think they ever get enough love, for lack of a better term. Talk about who the utilities are that you deal with in this industrial park.
Well, as far as the utilities, the city a few years ago, which was it was a smart move at that point, they annexed the roadways all the way to the Warren County line. Mm-hmm. And so then they are responsible.
Then they could just take a little right off and go into the industrial park.
That's right. And they had that vision of providing the utilities, and of course, which is fine with us and anybody else. If you get sewer, then you have to annex your property into the city. So we did that. But the sewer and the gas are provided by the city of Scottsville.
Okay.
They are the folks that we deal with there. Tri-County is our electric provider, and the Allen County Water District provides the water. So we've got several different partners, and of course North Central is our fiber provider out that way. So, but it's been very fortunate to work with good people, in this process along the way, and they're just one phone call away, and that makes it easier to get answers for companies when they call about power availability and sewer capacity and stuff, that you've got, you can pick up that phone and call that person direct, and it makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference. And talking about some of the strategies that you've implemented to foster economic growth in Scottsville and Allen County, you mentioned that you've purchased some more properties, but what else have you got going on?
Well, and I think my theory, even as judge and now in this role, is you got to stay in your lane and know what you're capable of landing and what you're not. We're not going to get a Corvette plant, and Logan Aluminum. I mean, you just have to. First of all, you have to set your strategy to go after folks that you think are viable to locate in your park. You know, and whether they're suppliers for Logan Aluminum or the Corvette or just, some of those folks, that supply those folks are who we've gone after and been somewhat successful. But the first and foremost thing for me is just stay in your lane and realize what you're capable of doing and what you're not capable of getting, and go after those companies, and don't spend a lot of time and a lot of wheels going after things that you realistically, and that's not, I don't mean to downgrade our community. That's just the reality of economic development. You're not going to get those folks, and the sooner you realize what your target market is and go for that, the better off you're going to be.
That's well said, Judge, because I think any community would love to have a big, blue oval operation in their county, but at the same time, we all can't hit home runs.
Right.
We just don't, but singles and doubles are great too, and you can generate runs that way. And, knowing what your capabilities are and what your capacity is for your utilities, and it's mainly comes down to the utilities more than anything else on what you're able to service. You can have big winners with a light industrial facility that has 200 jobs and pays $25 an hour. It's the same as having a big battery plant.
Absolutely. And like I said, Bowling Green is one of our biggest assets, being this close to Bowling Green and Warren County. I mean, with obviously the park that they have and, all the companies that are going there, gets us a lot of looks. Mm-hmm. And, just being – and, Judge Buchanan and I said years ago when we served together as judges that if we can ever jump the twin bridges, it'll all just become one, Allen and Warren will join right there. And it's to that point. But Bowling Green's been a big asset for us. And certainly when you show companies and they have young professionals and stuff, Bowling Green has so much to offer, and an hour from Nashville, and Bowling Green has the airport, just a number of pluses for us when we go to recruit companies that Bowling Green helps us tremendously.
Yeah, well, and in my role in Franklin and Simpson County now, it's a regional effort at times. And, it said a lot. What's good for Bowling Green is good for the rest of the Barren River Area Development District, the BRAD. But at the same time, when you have those huge facilities that may go out to the Transpark, they need suppliers. And that's where the roles of a Simpson and an Allen and a Logan come into play to help facilitate some of those Tier 2 and Tier 3 suppliers that are needed to keep our economic activity alive here.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is they – size of their buildings and availability of land in the Transpark and stuff. Some of those suppliers, that just doesn't fit their niche.
Yeah.
But to locate in Simpson, Allen, even Logan County, in some of our parks, I mean, that's a perfect setup that puts them 20 minutes, 25 minutes from whoever they're supplying for, and gives them the environment that they're looking for as far as a supplier for those major companies.
And I think one of the big pluses that you have with your industrial park, especially being on 231, is that it's 4 lanes, and you're in close proximity to the interstate.
We are. That's a huge plus. I mean, we're 8 to 10 minutes from I-65, and the state. It's funny. I saw a cartoon one time that the Back to the Future, and they came back, Michael J. Fox and them, and they said to each other, they're still working on I-65. So, but they've made that where you can avoid going into Bowling Green from Scottsville and hit 65 there, and so 8 or 10 minutes you can be on there. And, back to
I-165, probably even less time.
Absolutely. And, back to what we were saying originally, know what you're capable of and your target market. We don't have a rail spur, and to those bigger companies, that's huge, and we understand that. Yeah. So, but that proximity to I-65 for us has been a big deal for us and the companies we've showed.
I remember when 231 was still 2 lanes heading to Scottsville, so having that 4-lane is a big plus as well.
It certainly is.
Talk about, and you had a big announcement not too long ago, but talk about some of the few success stories that you've had in Allen County.
Well, certainly, when we developed that park that we talked about earlier, Halton made a commitment to build a facility there, which really, without that commitment, I don't know that we would have been there. But they agreed to go ahead and build their second facility in Allen County at the new Allen Springs Industrial Park. So when they made that commitment, that made that project a little bit more doable and brought us some, how many thousands of cars travel that road each day and think, well, they've located out here and they're making it work, So Halton moving there was a big plus for us in the industrial park, and then they recently completed an expansion on that facility. So, that was good to show that it was working for them. Halton's been a great community partner and company for many years in Scottsville. But
and what do they make?
They make ventilation systems for I don't know, Chick-fil-A is one of their main customers, Texas Roadhouse,
they do the
over
hoods,
the grills and
the
hoods
and
stuff.
Grill,
so, and we did a tour. We had some folks from the overseas foreign Kentucky Economic Development Cabinet came in a year and a half ago. And, of course, Halton is a Finnish company, and they wanted to go there because they had dealings. And so, anyway, set up the tour, and they were working on a system for the new L.A. Clippers Coliseum in Los Angeles at Halton in Scottsville. Yeah. This kind of blows me away that
there's an NBA connection to Allen County.
That's right. So, but they're a huge success story, and like I said, just a wonderful community partner, and Smucker's continues to grow, and the market for the Uncrustables that they produce in Scottsville continues to just blow out the numbers and stuff. So, and then the recent announcement with a company that we were in the process, as it's about anywhere from 12 to 18 month process, and so about 15 months ago we started our conversations, and the company's name is Belmark, and they make flexible packaging. They're out of Wisconsin, and so we.
Now, what is flexible packaging? Like potato chip bags?
And food containers and various other, labeling in containers.
Okay.
And like I said, they're out of Wisconsin, and we got cut down to 5 sites: 2 in Kentucky, 2 in Tennessee, and 1 in Indiana. Mm-hmm. And as you know, that process narrows down, and so we were eventually the pick for them, and we're excited. We had a groundbreaking a couple of weeks ago. The governor was in town, and the CEO and founder and some other folks from Belmark flew in from Wisconsin, and so it was a good day. But they hope to start their construction in spring of 25. They're already in the planning stages and interviewing general contractors, but we have some road work that was part of our incentives that actually our bids are due tomorrow on it. So we hope to go ahead and in the next 30 to 45 days see that work start and work towards completion. So even though the company won't be actually starting their construction, there'll be work going on there as we try to shore up some of the things that we promised to them as well. But we're excited. We're truly excited about that company, and it's a 160 jobs and $100 million investment. So
that's awesome.
It's a good win for us and the community, and we look forward to. I told somebody the other day that I said I'll be glad when we get through all the lawyer stuff and get down to moving dirt and building stuff. But again, as you know from being in this, there's a lot of that work that has to be done before you get to that point. And so, but we're moving forward, and the Mullis Group was the consultant on that, and so
that's Mike Mullis,
and Denise, and it was funny when Mike first came to Scottsville 14 months ago to look at the site. He's the one that brought Smuckers to Scottsville as well. So, and he was talking about the road you were referring to. He said, "Well, that 4-lane did get built, didn't it?" He said, "Well, we brought Smuckers. That was in the works." And so,
is it called the Richie Sanders bypass too, like the one in Edmondson County?
Well, no, I don't want to steal his home county thunder. So
yeah, I got it.
So,
well, talking about all this great economic development and Smuckers and whatnot. I mean, it's been good. It's been good for Allen County and Simpson County, and having Belmar come to town. Now, that's 2 Wisconsin operations that have located in South Central Kentucky in the last year now.
Really?
So Menards. You told them we had a Menards, right?
Well, I'm sure they're aware of that. Yeah. So.
And I was actually looking on a map the other day because I know we there's a Meijer in Bowling Green as well, which is based out of Minnesota. But both Menards and Meijer are the 2 southernmost locations for those companies right here in Bowling Green. So it just shows that this area and this region is continuing to grow, and we're getting a lot of looks from all over the country.
We are, and and like I said, the big scores that the state has experienced in Bowling Green and stuff, these companies that we're getting looks from and like Belmar, they're not tied to those things in any way, but they see that through the magazines and the media and stuff that, hey, we need to check out that area. They're building battery plants, and, Tyson's building a big facility. I mean, it just, it gets you attention from folks that may not have any tie to those specific businesses, but yet the area is getting a lot of play.
And having site selectors like the Mullis organization, I mean, they know about this region, and there's more to it than just being a great place to locate an industry. We have pretty good tax incentives. We have low property costs. We have low property tax, but also we have some of the best workforce in the country, without question.
We do, and that was, that's always one of the top 1 or 2 questions you get about the workforce, and certainly in today's time. And we were able to tie them into some of the numbers from the school system, and just the general population of area there. And I know we did a tour with them back last year and took them through some of the residential folks and stuff, even in the Alvaton area and the Allen County area, to see. That driving from Bowling Green to our site, you don't see a lot of homes, but you get, as I said earlier, 1 road off, and they're everywhere. Just a general good population of folks there. And most of those folks, granted, are working somewhere, but still, I think you're right, the labor force that we have here and the availability. And, Jim, I'm way older than you, but, folks now don't think anything about driving 15, 20 miles to work. No. I mean, it's just, before people wanted to be, 5 minutes from home, but so that expands your workforce numbers.
It does.
And, tremendously. And so, now when you're looking at an area that maybe several years ago was a closed area more so, it's widened the gap because people, they don't mind driving that. A good job. And
having that nice 4-lane, and the extension of the Natcher Parkway and all those things. While the project may be in Warren County, it benefits the region. Getting to Allen County from the South Warren area is so much quicker now because of that Natcher extension. Right to 231, you can be down there in 15 minutes in some cases.
Absolutely, and that's a big plus.
Yeah,
that's a big plus. And like
huge.
I said, companies are looking at, beyond the normal, just that county or whichever county you're looking at, just simply because the workforce everywhere they're willing to drive 15, 20 miles. It's not a big deal anymore.
You know, I was in Allen County. I've actually been through there twice in the last week or so, and you know, driving along 31E, it's some of the most beautiful country in South Central Kentucky, without a doubt. But people are taking care of their property. It's well mowed. You got some beautiful fences. You got some nice hills, and it's just great country.
It's a good drive, and you know, certainly. You know, we were talking yesterday about tourism and the numbers. We're looking at some things with forming a committee, and you know, the Mennonite population, which is in the lower end of the county,
big right listeners too,
on the Simpson County line.
Yeah.
But the amount of people that come down there, it's worth your time if you got an afternoon or something and want to drive down in that part. But you know, it's like you're talking about the beauty of 31E, but certainly that's they don't do anything motorized, and so you get a lot of folks there. But there's a lot of quality life type things in small towns, and you know, and like I said, Bowling Green is such a plus that if you want those activities, the shopping and you know, all those other major university and college sports, I mean, you're 15 minutes away from that. But if you just want to drive back and forth to work every day, you don't have to deal with all that traffic either.
Yeah. So the industrial sector is definitely influencing economic growth in Scottsville and Allen County. So what's the future looking like?
Well, the future, like I said, is looking bright as far as the work availability and stuff. I mean, you know, once that Belmark gets going and starts moving, our companies, and you know, you kind of knock on wood, Dollar General, Sumitomo, Smuckers are our largest employees with roughly 400 plus in each one of those facilities. So you always keep an eye on those. And but you know, we've got some other things. I don't know if you want to call them quality of life issues, but some things we need to work on, and we're trying to do that. I mean, you know, we could use another motel and you know, some restaurant, maybe some, you know, when people drive through, if they don't see O'Charlie's or Texas Road, you know, and I'm sure you'll attest to some of the best cooking I've ever eaten out is from those places that you were a little leery about walking in the first time. So, but so we've got some things like that to do, you know, and I think, you know, when you land a company like Belmark and you get that kind of attention and stuff, I'm hoping that those folks that have an influence on those kind of things are looking as well. So.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that about restaurants, because I know whenever we travel, we sometimes like let's not eat at any chains. Let's eat local the whole time we're wherever we are.
Yeah.
Of course, we hit the Chick-fil-A on the way home and the way down there, but you know, that's always nice to have those options as well. But I get what you're saying. If you don't have a Hampton Inn or a Waffle House and a Old Charlie's or whatever, a Starbucks,
right?
Sometimes, you know, people go, well, this kind of, you know, this is not the right place, but it is. You got a wonderful coffee shop downtown. You got some great things going for you.
Well, and I think, like you said, that's true. But there's people that drive through and don't see those things that you just talked about that don't give us a chance to prove to them. Like, I don't know about, you know. And I mean, as silly as that may sound, I think there's some truth to that. You know, so we need to continue to work on getting some of those. You know, we're not going to have them all. You know, or
I don't think anybody's building a mall anymore.
But, you know, even theaters, but motels and some of the, you know, chain restaurant things and stuff is some things we're hoping to see with you know, we recently passed the alcohol is now legal in Allen County, and you know, there's people with views on that from both sides, and you respect those from both sides, but I think that maybe more than it makes it available to now go in and buy alcohol if you want to, it just shows that the community realized that was a hump they needed to get over. You know, it just whether you like it or not, and I think that doing that is way more than just having it available now to purchase at home. It just shows that the community realized that that's a hurdle we needed to get over for that kind of growth if that's what we're looking for, whether you're for it or against it.
Yeah, and whether you're for it or against it, it does have an economic impact, not as far as where they're selling it, but a lot of these companies, especially foreign companies, Japanese and German, and when they're looking at places, they look to see if it's a wet county or a moist county, because their culture calls for a beer in the afternoon, right, or a cocktail, and they look for those things. And I actually know a real true story of a company not locating in a county because of that issue alone.
Right. So, it was just a thing, and the lake that we have, Barron River, we need to capitalize more on it, and I think we've already seen a couple of places pop up out around the lake since that vote and stuff. So, again, I'm not into the issue of whether you were for it or against it. I just think it was a community feeling that's just a hurdle we need to get over.
Yeah, you got a new restaurant you can't even get into down there at next to Paradise Point.
Yeah.
Is that Rusty's?
So, Rusty's. Yeah. So, but sure. It's those things are helping, people that go to the lake now. And nothing against Barron County or anything, but
right.
but maybe we're getting some of that business now for folks and stuff. And
sure.
So we need to, along with some of the other things we talked about earlier, we need to capitalize more on what an asset the lake is. And we've been and I'll take full responsibility in my time as judge, we just never really zeroed in on that and the pluses of that to really drive home that, hey, it's on our side too, and we need to take advantage of that.
Well, you mentioned tourism earlier, and as an economic developer, tourism is a big part of economic development in any community, and being able to attract individuals to your community. If it's going to the lake, let's take advantage of that, and let's grab those people as they're coming through town and have them buy some gas and eat some food and buy some souvenirs and things like that. And tourism is not everywhere, but in some communities they just don't think about that impact that it has.
It does, and which I for years, and I've always been part-time, have my realtors and auctioneers license, and the amount of people that are moving in, and I'm sure y'all are seeing it too, and the lake's a big draw. We had a Heart of Scottsville ball last year, and my wife and I sat at a table with some other couples. They had assigned seating, and one group one husband and wife was from Denver and the other from Cincinnati, and they had been through here just traveling and just and stopped, and they just love it at the lake. They located there, and so you never know where people are coming from or what draws them, but getting them here, whether it's the tourism like we're talking about, I mean, mm-hmm. you got to get them through there to see what you've got. And so it was interesting to talk to those folks, and kind of being from that area, it's always interesting to me what draws people, especially from those kind of areas, to our community.
Yeah. Well, a lot of great things happening down in Allen and Allen County and Scottsville. I'm used to saying Simpson County so much now, but congratulations on Bellmark. I know that's a huge win for you all and for your community, and it's all about expanding the tax base and growing your community. And fortunately, Allen County and Scottsville are continuing to grow and prosper. And it's good. It's good for the region when that happens.
It is, and this, like Bellmark and some of the things. I mean, they, in my role, you're kind of the conductor or the coach. You kind of, but there were a ton of people involved in that process, and certainly Senator Wise and Representative McPherson. We called on them for some support and help with some of the road projects we needed that this company was asking us to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, they stepped up. Both of them visited the site, and certainly our mayor and judge are heavily involved in that. And even our former senator, Senator Givens, who through redistricting is no longer our senator, and Senator Wise has taken over, but Senator Givens has always been a big champion of ours and supporter, and you can call him if you need something, and he's always on your team. So there's a lot of different people pulling from a lot of different ways to make that happen. And you know that from your time in legislature and your economic development stuff that just like we talked about earlier, Mike Mullis calls, Belmark needs to know the capacity on the electricity or something. That you can just pick up the phone and call that guy's cell phone. He can have you an answer most of the time in less than an hour. I mean, those are things, but, so many people are involved in that and work good together. And I hope that continues. I think it will, because when you show results, it's easier to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, did I not ask you anything that you want to tell our listeners and viewers?
No, I just, I did want to get in the part, about how lucky we are to be close to Bowling Green and Warren County. And certainly, they've been great for us to be able to brag about being so close.
Right.
And certainly that. And the work that we've done with Bowling Green Chamber have been very cooperative and helpful with us and kind of led us through. Ron has a lot on his plate, and he has a lot of resources that we don't have as a one-man operation.
Right.
And Ron has never failed to share those things or help out, and just as you have. And so it's just a good area to be in, and I think. They've taken on that look at this is a South Central Kentucky area. And so we've been blessed, and, we've just got to not let our guard down, especially on this project. And we need to continue with the same vigor and energy that we had when we were recruiting them. We don't need to let up. And I've told that to the players, so to speak, that, hey, this is just a step along the way. It's not over. It's just now beginning. So we need to keep that energy going, but certainly being in this area, I think, is a huge, huge part for our success.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that collaboration between the different entities, and as you know, being part of the regional marketing group, which includes the Bowling Green Area Chamber of Commerce, Allen County-Scottsville Economic Development Organization, Logan County, Logan Lead, the City of Morgantown, and now the Franklin Simpson Industrial Authority. We're all at times in competition with each other, but most of the times we're all collaborating together, and that's what makes this area so great.
It is. It truly is, and you don't. You can. You've been in those meetings that we go to, and Brooke and myself and you and Ron, and I don't feel uncomfortable sharing anything or any prospects, because I think the people in that room, as I do them, respect you and the job you're doing. And it's just, like I said, there may be times that we're in competition with each other, but for the most part, when Ron's got something, we hope to support him, and he's been great about supporting us when we've got stuff going on too.
Yeah, that's what makes this place such a great place.
Certainly does.
It really is. So, hey, Judge, it's good to see you. Appreciate you being on the DeCesare Group Podcast.
Well, I appreciate it, Jim, and anytime that I can come on and talk about our community, it's just like what we've been talking about. It helps gets out the word, and I appreciate you thinking of me and giving me the opportunity to come.
Well, we'll have you on again. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks again to my friend Johnny Hobdy, Director of Economic Development for the Allen County-Scottsville Industrial Development Authority, for joining us this week on the DeCesare Group Podcast. And thank you for listening. Hey, if you like what you hear, please share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a review and share your feedback with us as well. You can also follow the DeCesare Group on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and X, all the social media platforms. And of course, the DeCesare Group Podcast is produced by the DeCesare Group, a full-service public relations and consulting company in South Central Kentucky. Our engineer and fan of Smucker's Uncrustables is Justin DeCesare, with content contributions from Brooke Mattingly and Amy DeCesare. I'm Jim DeCesare, and join us again next time for the DeCesare Group Podcast.